It is the group that champions the party's policies and agenda in the legislative arm. The amendment seeks to increase the representation of the parliamentary group on the National Executive Committee. This is strongly recommended, Mr. Chairman.
Those in favor say aye. Against say nay. The ayes have it. 38. Amend Articles 1073 and 10.8 of the Constitution to provide that the National Treasurer shall report to the General Secretary.
Chairman, it is the view that the General Secretary, as the party's Chief Administrative Officer and the Chief Executive Officer of the party, who has superintendence over all officers except the National Chairperson and Vice Chairpersons, should exercise superintendence over the National Treasurer. The amendment aligns with the administrative structure of the party.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 39. Amend Article 1010 of the Constitution to remove the President from the composition of the National Steering Committee of the National Executive Committee.
The steering committee of the party is in charge of the day-to-day administration of the party and should comprise only the 10 elected officers, the presidential candidate, the parliamentary leader, and the chairman of the National Council of Elders.
Delegates in favor of motion number 39, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Motion number 40, amend Article 11 of the Constitution to specifically include a provision that allows the Constituency Executive Committee to remove a polling station or electoral officer from office with the prior approval of the Regional Executive Committee upon receipt of a petition from a member.
Chairman, the current Constitution has no provision on how polling station and electoral area officers may be removed from office. This new provision clarifies this. Respectfully submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 41. Amend Article 11 of the Constitution to include a provision requiring the need for the body to be constituted by the Executive Committee to recommend removal before the summoning of an extraordinary delegates conference for the purpose of removing an elected officer from office and for specific timelines for the removal process of such elected officer.
Chairman, this amendment brings clarity in the removal of officers and avoids the convening of an extraordinary delegates conference without recommendation from the body constituted by the Executive Committee.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 42. Amend Article 11.7 of the Constitution to explicitly provide guidelines and procedure for the removal from office of an appointed officer or executive to be done by the relevant Executive Committee with prior approval of the immediately higher Executive Committee.
This amendment, Chairman, clarifies the process for removal of appointed officers. Submitted.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 43. That's a new provision. Amend the Constitution by inserting a new provision to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who filed to contest to become a parliamentary candidate of the party in a constituency with a sitting member of parliament shall resign their positions at least 12 calendar months to the national general elections.
Chairman, this is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the position of parliamentary candidate. Recommended.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 44 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former members of Parliament, former parliamentary candidates, former metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, former ministers, former deputy ministers who are card-bearing members of the party at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 45 is a new provision. Amend Articles 12 and 13 of the Constitution and insert a new provision to grant voting rights to former constituency executives and former regional executives at the parliamentary and presidential primaries.
The amendment seeks to expand the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to promote inclusivity and broader participation, and is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 46. Amend Article 13(1)(6) of the Constitution to provide that national officers, ministers, deputy ministers, CEOs, and other government appointees who file to become the presidential candidate of the party shall resign their positions at least 24 months to the national general elections.
This amendment, Chairman, is to ensure fair competition and a level playing field to all prospective aspirants for the flag bearership slot.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 47. Amend Article 13(1)(9) of the Constitution to completely abolish and do away with the special electoral college and super delegates system.
Chairman, the special electoral college system, which was introduced in the 2009 constitutional amendments to shortlist aspiring presidential candidates, is believed to have outlived its usefulness. This is recommended, Chairman.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 48. Amend Article 13(4) of the Constitution to provide for the election of a presidential candidate when the party is in government to a date not later than 18 months instead of 11 months before the national general elections.
Chairman, this amendment, if approved, will give the party's presidential candidate an extra 7 months to campaign before the general elections. Submitted.
Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. 49. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 5 members of the Constituency Council of Elders and 10 members of the Regional Council of Elders at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional elders are members of the constituency and regional delegates conference respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the constituency conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the elders is an omission which should be rectified. Respectfully submitted.
Motion number 50. Amend Article 1311 of the Constitution to include 30 national patrons and all members of the National Council of Elders to be part of the presidential primaries.
The National Council of Elders is the foremost advisory body of the party and therefore ought to be adequately represented at the second highest decision-making body of the party. The national patrons also occupy an important position in the party structure. The expansion of their members in the presidential primaries is therefore appropriate. Respectfully recommended.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. 51. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 5 constituency patrons and 10 regional patrons at the presidential primaries.
These constituency and regional patrons are members of the constituency and regional delegates conference respectively. Polling station and electoral area executives who form part of the delegates to the constituency conference have been given voting rights at the presidential primaries. The exclusion of the patrons is an omission which should be rectified.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 52. Amend Article 1311 to grant voting rights to 1 TESCOM patron from every recognized tertiary institution in the presidential primaries.
52, right? 52. Chairman, this amendment allows for inclusivity and broader participation. This is in line with the proposed limited expansion.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 53. Amend Article 15(3) of the Constitution to make all female delegates at the National Delegates Conference eligible to vote for the position of National Women Organizer.
Chairman, the current regulations on the election of the National Women Organizer is not inclusive. This amendment, if approved by conference, will allow all female delegates, I repeat, all female delegates, to participate in the election of the National Women's Organizer. Recommended, Chairman.
Delegates in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 54. 54. Delegates, delegates, delegates. Delegates, 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 permit me to read Hello! Muma Kromiyadin! Kromiyadin! 54. Amend Article 15(4) of the Constitution by defining youth in the Constitution to refer to a member of the party who is not above the age of 35 years.
My chairman, the age limit for youth per all the international conventions and national laws shows that the highest age limit is 35. The UN puts the age bracket between 15 and 24 years, the WHO between 15 and 29, UNICEF between 15 and 24, the ILO between 15 and 24, the African Youth Charter between 15 and 35. In Ghana, the National Youth Authority Act, Act 939, defines a youth as a person between 15 and 35. My chairman, views on this motion are very divided.
Distinguished delegates of conference, those in favor of motion number 54, say aye. Those against, say no. I will take this vote again. I am going to take this vote again. I am taking this vote again. Delegates in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. Nay! Nay! Conference, the nays have it. Meaning, we revert to the status quo, which puts the birthing age of youth at not above the age of 40 years. 55. Amend Article 15(4) of the Constitution to make youth delegates at the National Delegates Conference eligible to vote for the position of National Youth Organizer.
Chairman, the current regulations of the election of the National Youth Organizer is not inclusive. This amendment allows all youth delegates, I repeat, all youth delegates, to participate in the election of the National Youth Organizer. Submitted, Chairman.
Those in favor, say aye. Those against, say nay. Well, the ayes once again have it. Certainly, this is the last motion. 56. Amend Article 15(5)(d)(e) and related provisions that refer to national coordinator at all relevant levels. To refer to the national coordinators as Nasara, coordinators as Nasara organizers.
Chairman, by the nature of their functions, Nasara coordinators should be referred to as Nasara organizers, just as is done with women and youth organizers.
Presiding conference chairman, general secretary of this great party, before I draw down the curtain on this National Annual Delegates Conference, I'll read.
We didn't vote on this one.
Sorry. Those in favor of motion number 56, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. I will now, for the benefit of conference, read the sunset clause, which is ordinarily referred to as the transitional provisions. And this has been drawn by the Constitution Amendment Committee in line with the existing practice. Whereas the National Council of the party has pursuant to Article 13(1) of the Constitution scheduled January 21, 2026 as the date to elect the party's 2028 presidential candidate. The National Annual Delegates Conference has on this day, the 19th day of July 2028, adopted the proposed amendment 2025, adopted the proposed amendment to expand the Electoral College for the election of the party's presidential candidate to include all former members of parliament, all former parliamentary candidates, all former MMDCs, all card-bearing former ministers, all card-bearing former deputy ministers, all former regional executives, all former constituency executives, all former branch executives, all the members of the National Council of Elders, the members of the National Council of Patrons, regional and constituency patrons, regional and constituency elders, and TESCON coordinators. The National Annual Delegates Conference has on this day adopted a proposed amendment to expunge the Special Delegates Electoral College from the Constitution. The term of office holders in the party from polling station to the national level has not expired. I repeat, has not expired. Accordingly, the prospective members who are to be afforded the right to form part of the structured offices at various levels by elections shall have their rights held in abeyance until upon the expiration of the tenure of the incumbent office holders. Now, therefore, it is proposed that for the avoidance of doubt, the effective dates for the new amendments relating to the additions to the polling station executives, electoral area executive committee, constituency executive committee, regional executive committee, and executive committee shall be after the January 31, 2026 presidential primaries. However, as adopted by the National Delegates Conference on this fateful day, and given the fact that the dates of the conduct of the presidential primaries have been set by the Constitution in accordance with the dictates of the Constitution, the provisions pursuant to the new amendments on presidential primaries, that is Article 13, particularly the expunging of the Special Electoral College and the expansion of the Electoral College for the presidential primaries to include former executives, former regional executives, former external branch executives, former members of parliament, former parliamentary candidates, former MMDECs, former card-bearing ministers and deputies, TESCON coordinators, party patrons and elders shall take effect immediately. Shall take effect immediately in order to give effect to the decision of the National Council and the National Delegates Conference in respect of the presidential primaries. This motion, which only seeks to bring clarity on the effect of the adoption of these amendments by conference on this day, is hereby moved for the consideration of conference. At this stage, distinguished delegates, those in favor and all in favor of this motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. It is my desirable pleasure at this stage to say to conference that our duties as the Constitution Amendment Committee in respect of today's conference has come to a close. Nonetheless, it is instructive to notify all delegates that the preparatory work for the drafting of the new Constitution or amended Constitution pursuant to the adoption of these elaborate constitutional amendments would begin in due course. We thank you all for the support and cooperation afforded us. God bless all our distinguished delegates. God bless the great NPP party, and God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. And we shall always be bold to defend and resist the oppressor's rule. Thank you all very much.
So send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha Usulem fi say ye fear wo pese wo nto no Usulem fi edan ananse japade a wani da so a wo pese oto wa Africa ha no Usulem fi say wo send this sika amodofo e de aboa no wo Africa ha Usulem fi sanso e na say wo tie obi school fees amano a Usulem fi nyenti a make camful lemfi ama on say utimi send this sika e fa lemfi so a e ma ne begu bank account mu sanso e na timi begu mobile money account mu eno achi nso no de bia lemfi e wo daily rate a e ma hu sika dodo a wo sende a wo benya lemfi e secured na wo send this car enche na nipa a wo sende amano no ne nsaka lemfi wo USA, Canada, UK, Italy, Germany, Ireland, Netherlands, Spain, Belgium, Portugal and France. What the lemfi send this car untu ahwe bomodi an dey use me code NEWS news na say ene any day they can register or lemfi so a unya bonus sanso and use chen so a ye wo bonuses ahodo a ye de ma so send this cafe amanoni aba Africa ha use lemfi say ye fear wo pese wo nto no use lemfi edan ananse japade a wani da